Hi, everybody. I'm Roy Firestone, and happy Valentine's Day. And with this being Valentine's Day, I'd like to share a few stories of essays about love, friendship, and fraternity. And let's start with this one. 5 years ago, Erin Jackson had no dream of winning an Olympic medal. In Ocala, Florida, Erin enjoyed rollerblading and even roller derby. At the University of Florida, she was kind of a bookworm, student of material science and engineering. Although she had practiced inline skating since she was 10 years old, speed skating on ice, well, let's just say it wasn't what a lot of black girls in Florida did. But she and her best friend, Brittany Bowes, decided to try it for the sport, and they both loved it. Both became very, very good at it, too. This year, both friends were competing for a spot for the U.S. Olympic team for speed skating, and both were each other's biggest fans. When Erin slipped on the ice in the trials, she appeared to lose a spot on the team. But Brittany gave up her spot, and Erin had a chance at a gold medal after all. Well, on Sunday, with the news somewhat overshadowed by the Super Bowl, Erin Jackson became the first American speed skater in nearly 30 years, since Bonnie Blair, to win a gold medal in speed skating. She also, and this is notable, became the first black woman ever to accomplish that feat. Well, after her win, Erin put her hands on her face and wept. Her friend Brittany gave her the chance of a lifetime to achieve something she never dreamed was possible. And the unselfishness and the grace is not lost on Erin. In these very divided and polarized times, it's nice to tell the story of friendship and kindness and compassion. It shouldn't be a big deal anymore, but it still is. To the world, you may just be one person, but to one person, you may be the world, wrote Dr. Seuss. On Valentine's Day, we do remember love and admiration and heart. And for Erin Jackson, that one person, her friend Brittany, made her world. Congratulations, Erin and Brittany. In a very selfish time on this planet, you showed us what selflessness means. As we say goodbye to the Super Bowl, I'd like to salute some great performances in kind of a down-to-a-wire game yesterday. Aaron Donald led the Rams in sacking Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow 7 times. And the receiver Cooper Kupp, the game's MVP, came up clutch again as the Rams held on to win their first world title as the LA Rams in 71 years. Congratulations to Sean McVay and the entire Rams organization for a great victory, which now finally puts the Rams in the LA City of Champions circle with the Dodgers, Lakers, and Kings. They've all won their titles in recent years. But back to Valentine's Day, I'd like to talk about love and friendship, and I'd like to mention 4 men who deserve some praise too. They were Rams who played more than 50 years ago. In fact, Dick Butkus called them the most dominant line in football history. That's Lamar Lundy, Rosie Greer, Merlin Olsen, and Deacon Jones. Interestingly, they weren't the first foursome to become fearsome. The Giants line was given that name in the 50s. The Chargers had that nickname too, but believe it, there was only one fearsome foursome. They gained fame as the Rams went on from a perennial under 500 team to a powerhouse under Coach George Allen. And by the way, Roger Brown did replace Rosie Greer in 1967. Well, I interviewed these gentlemen in Las Vegas. The first time in decades they'd all been together in one interview. I was struck by their love and their closeness. Merlin Olsen was then a quiet caretaker for Lamar Lundy, who had myasthenia gravis, which is a long-term neuromuscular disease that leads to varying degrees of skeletal muscle weakness. The most commonly affected muscles are the eyes, the face, the swallowing. Merlin was one of the finest human beings I ever knew in life, and he really helped Lamar find his way. But that's really not the most touching part of the story. As I was interviewing the foursome, Lundy disclosed that he had been diagnosed with cancer as well. And as he was saying this, Rosie Greer started to break down weeping on camera in the interview. It was so moving to watch. Well, then it was Deacon Jones's turn to talk, and I remember like it was yesterday. This is what he said. We are football players, teammates that loved one another. Didn't matter that Merlin came from Utah and was a Mormon, maybe the first white person I ever had as a teammate. Didn't matter that Rosie and Lamar and I all had different stories to tell. We are and we will always be brothers. And there's not a thing I wouldn't do for my brothers. They're my teammates, but they'll always be my brothers. Well, folks, that kind of choked me up even during the interview. Lamar Lundy died in 2007. Merlin passed 3 years later. Deacon Jones 3 years after that. Even death was kind of a strange pattern. Rosie is the last serving member of that foursome. He is now 89 years old. He'll be 90 in July, if health permits. The Rams' fearsome foursome never won a world title, never even got to a Super Bowl, but their memory will be in my heart. They were great athletes. They were a fearsome bunch, all right, but first they were brothers. The saying goes, when brothers agree, no fortress is so strong as their common life. And in this, the 101st season of the NFL, and in view of the fact that the Super Bowl drew more viewers at halftime with a hip-hop show, I'd like to close today's show with my hip-hop salute to the history of the National Football League with the newest champion crowned on Sunday, the Rams.
Back in 1922, the NFL was born anew, and that's the name it had right up to now. And though the game has changed a lot, the spirit and the thrills have not, so let's let all our heroes take a bow. In all the years that teams competed, only one was undefeated. Dolphins' perfect season stands alone. Bob Greasy, Zonka, Larry Little, Mercury right up the middle, not to mention Shula on his throne. Now other coaches just as famous stole our hearts, and who can blame us? How about Vince Lombardi for a start? Belichick and Walsh and Hallis, Ditka's Bears, Landry's Dallas, all of them raised coaching to an art. Jimmy Johnson, Curly Lambeau, called some plays that might scare Rambo. Houston's great coach Phillips was no bum. Dick Vermeil and Bill Parcells made some noise, they rang some bells. Knox and Noel and Carroll beat that drum. Now when it comes to running backs, there's lots of dudes who made some tracks. Jim Brown and Emmitt Smith pop into mind. Marcus Allen, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, no debating. And you can't leave Eric Dickerson behind. We've got great receivers too, like Steve Largent of the Green and Blue, Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, and Jerry Rice. We got Stallworth and Biletnikoff, Paul Warfield if that ain't enough, and Lynn Swann and Reggie Wayne are pretty nice. Did I mention Andre Reed and DeAndre Hopkins? Yes, indeed. The great Art Monk and also A.J. Green. Demaryius Thomas and James Lofton, Charlie Joyner thrilled us often. All of them among the best we've ever seen. Quarterbacks, let's start right in. Tom Brady's got the knack to win. Brett Favre and Dan Marino ain't too bad. Broadway Joe and Kenny Stabler and John Elway, no one's abler. Aaron Rodgers is among the best we've had. There's Drew Brees, John Unitas, Bart Starr, and please don't fight us if we add Phil Simms and Otto Graham to our list. There's Joe Theismann and Joe Flacco, Peyton Manning, and that wacko Terry Bradshaw. If you miss him, he'll be pissed. Joe Montana and Cam Newton, and you know we'll all be rooting, and Russell Wilson can toss that ball downfield. Lamar Jackson's well-intentioned, but the defense we ain't mentioned. But we're running out of time, so now we'll yield. Deacon Jones and Ronnie Lott, Merlin Olsen, J.J. Watt, how I wish we had more time to sing their praise. But I guess it really shows just how deep the roster goes and how much those players really made the plays. Yeah, century of football fun. It's really only just begun.
The Rams are champs today, thanks in part to Sean McVay. Their defense and Matt Stafford got their say. Aaron Donald's going to the Hall of Fame. LA won the biggest game, and we salute the Rams and how they play. And they say I couldn't rap. Huh. That's our show. We'll see you next week. Bye.